Hey Matt, this is Jacob on your dramatization rough draft. First thing I wanted to say was I thought it was really a good idea that you focused on one group, particularly a group located at Ball State, the girls synchronized swimming team, for your dramatization scene because it provided you action, of the practice and of you have girls falling, trying to get a routine down, and B, it provided you with that they did have something at stake. They had a match coming up with Ohio State, and they didn't want to lose for another year in a row. So there was something big at stake. I could also see Chekhov's four-part structure in this piece as well. Basically the complication. Look, it's tired. The girls are getting tired. They can't get the routine down. The development, continual frustration. You even have Estes falling. And then you had a point of insight. This becomes a pretty powerful point of insight. I thought for myself was this is an escape for the women. This is where they can express themselves artistically, even if they don't win. And then the resolution that even if they don't get this routine down, there always will be next practice. But with that said, I thought there were a number of things that you could do to and really improve this piece. And the first is in regards to sensory details, add more description, and especially in terms of characterization as well. You do provide a lot of details. At the beginning you talk about the humidity, everything being wet, but there's a lot more room for details throughout this entire piece. Just on page one, we're talking about they're going to be here for as long as it takes. Well, how long does it normally take to get a routine down? And then we go into a discussion about Jacqueline, who I consider to be the main character throughout this entire piece. What does her outfit look like? What do the team's outfits look like? What is she wearing? You're also told that she's ghostly pale from being inside the pool for that long. If that's the case too, do her eyes look tired? Do her eyes look bloodshot? What about, and we talk about too that you said she has a background in competitive swimming. Well, how much of a background in competitive swimming? 10 years, 15 years, 5 years, and then we talk a little bit in the piece as well that there's only a few colleges that offer synchronized swimming or have synchronized swimming clubs. Well, how many are we talking about? Are we only talking about 2, 4, 6? Everybody interprets few differently. And another thing too, I would look for as well is more description in terms of the women's movements. And I thought a great way that this would help lay people like myself understand this piece even better might be to use similes to explain the women's movement, to compare it to something that I or someone reading this who obviously doesn't have a lot of knowledge of synchronized swimming could understand. The other thing I would look out for too is transitions throughout this piece, and I think digression would really benefit this piece a lot. Heralding back to McPhee, especially into the individuals' backgrounds, to understand why they really got into synchronized swimming. And I know that that's put in the piece already, and I enjoyed reading that part, but it seems almost forced into the piece, and it seems like it's in the wrong portion of the entire piece. Again, too, when we're doing that as well, I would watch out for details with that. We're talking about winners on page 5, and we're saying, after numerous injuries, I wondered, how many injuries? And then, we're talking about Hartso, and we're talking about her background in theater and how it helps her. Well, how does it help her? Does it help her with her footwork? Does it help her with her posture? In what ways? And the quote after Hartso on page 5, to me it seems really much more of if it's like an interview rather than an observation. So that's something I'd be on the lookout for as well. And again, going back to the adding more details. Jill Estes, you said alma mater. Where did she go? So again, so then the next thing I'd work on is the showing of the passage of time to viewers. We begin the piece and you say, at 11:30 p.m. on Tuesday night. Okay, so we know it's 11:30 p.m. How do we get to 11:30 p.m.? I liked it how you began it at 11:30, but how do we get there? How does the environment change within Llewellyn Aquatic Center? Again, this is where sensory details I think could be of a great help. Is it louder? Is it quieter? Are there more people? Are there less people? And again, going back, and I should have mentioned this earlier, when you're looking to put these transitions in for the girls' backgrounds, I would also too, it's going to call for probably a reconstruction of certain scenes. Another thing I'd be on the lookout for too, is word choices. There were just a few word choices here I felt were either overstatements, or just something to be on the lookout for. Um, on page 4, you said, the redness in her cheek starts to drain as her anger changes to defeat. That might be, a bit of a strong word there. Um, and when we were talking about S stage, you were saying, how she ran cross country, and there were no similarities between that and synchronized swimming. Some people might, differ with that and say, there are some. So no might be a little bit of a strong word there. And then on page 2, when you're talking about Zako, and you're saying how she's seen everything there is to see in the world of competitive synchronized swimming. That might be a bit of an overstatement. Some folks reading that might say, there's no way possible for that. And then there were also a couple of punctuation issues too on page 5. Going through here, I just look out. You say, "Jill, are you all right?" That sounded like it hurt. Just capitalize the T. And on excuse me, that was on page 7. And then on page 5, I would add an A to the first paragraph. Synchronized swimming feeds her competitive desires as well as helps her rebuild her muscles from a previous energy. But other than that, what I would do is, like I said, I think you've got a good start right here. But I would add a lot more description, a lot more characterization, and do that basically through sensory details that you could add in a lot more places. Also, I would add some transitions throughout, maybe employ the rhetoric. I cannot talk today. The tool of digression, and if possible, show for the passage of time.